right, bud. We are live. You've been outside. You look like you're on a bicycle race.
I'm not on a bicycle
Lance
race.
Armstrong. You look like Lance Armstrong. Were you? You got bicycle pants on right now?
No, it's actually Clint Boyer, but whatever. And I got jeans on there covered in grass from weed whipping.
Oh, that's NASCAR.
Yes.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Clint Boyer.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. So we're live on two platforms today. I tried it. I'm like, hey, a little extra, maybe a little extra exposure for us. Tim can't make it. He is at the YMCA shooting hoops with his son. So he's a big Tim's a basketball guy. Like he goes to the Y all the time, works out.
Modern day Larry Bird.
He is. So hopefully Warren remembers.
Well, there's that. Did you text him just to the?
No, I mean I texted the group text earlier. I'll just shoot him a text and just say anytime. Let me shoot him a text real quick. This 8 p.m. is too early, but I know Warren gets up early.
Yeah.
You know, it's still light out. Like people are out finishing up chores around the house and stuff.
I literally hopped off the tractor and got here just in time to shoot my bow a couple times to kind of just relax and get my mind back in the zone and pop down here.
You have any exciting maple stuff going on?
Yeah, something like that. I got some stuff going on, but yeah, we'll see how that all turns out. I'm gonna give it my best. That's all I can do.
I went to a firewood expo yesterday in Cortland, Ohio, and I would say this is the second largest gathering of YouTubers. He's got okay. I'll email him the link here. All right.
Nate, what is a firewood expo?
It's like a Star Trek convention for firewood people.
I've honestly never heard of that. That is the first. Is it all crawling with Amish?
There was a lot of Amish there, but it was a lot of YouTubers from around. There was people from Finland, Canada. It was the International Firewood Expo, and it was a lot of firewood processors. And if you ever get a chance, his name's Joe, and he's got a YouTube channel called Ohio Wood Burner. He's about 20 minutes from here, and his channel's about firewood, and he has like routes he runs, and he does a lot of restaurants. So there's a whole YouTube subculture of firewood folks, just like there is starting to be for maple, right?
Interesting.
Let me finish my email to Warren here. We figured out that Warren should be a guest on the show when he made one comment, and then there was like 35 questions for him. And it was clear no one cares what I think.
Or I think, for sure.
And that's fair.
And if they're listening to anything that I say, I feel sorry for them. No.
All right, I just sent that link over to.
I'm out of that.
So we got 20. All right, here we got some comments coming up. Might as well. Let's see.
It's
almost to 10,000 subscribers. Yes.
Are you really, Nate?
Yes. But
wow.
I will admit I tried something and it completely backfired.
Interesting.
I'm not going to lie about it. I was like, a buddy of mine, George, has a sawmill channel, and I told him about this thing. Like YouTube does, you can pay to get people to watch your videos.
Yep.
And it was I tried it. It was $100. Like, why not? Let's see what happens. And I got 5,500 subscribers in Indonesia and India.
So that's where all your syrup's going. Now we know.
It is. And I'm like, I didn't know that $100 must have gone a long ways in Indonesia and India. Yeah, I mean, I'll I'll be honest, like you can, if you wanted to spend about, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000, you could get 100,000 subs.
For what though? Like, what does it even?
Well, subs are not as important as watch time anymore. Everybody knows that kind of.
I see.
You can kind of rank it a little bit. Yep. We saw him there yesterday. So Dan is his name. We saw Dan yesterday. He saw me. We had a little maple syrup booth set up.
Interesting.
And we were selling syrup. So yeah, Benny.
I was there.
Yep, Benny was there. We sold $1,240 worth of products in 5 hours. And the way I do it, because I don't like standing at these things anymore, is if anyone from my company comes and does that, they set the booth up, that I split it 50-50 with them. So if they do $2,000 in sales, they get to, keep there's Warren. Cool. They get to keep $1,000. If they do $2,000 in sales, you get to keep $1,000. So
nice.
Sweet. There he is, the legend. Warren, you're on, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured out when
I
you
had to
made
come down to the sugar
comment.
house.
Go ahead. What was that?
I had to come down to the sugar house because my kids were crazy.
Huh?
Yep. You'll have
know what that's like.
So you made one comment on a live stream last week, and then there was 30 questions for you. And then we realized you might as well have Warren on there because it made no sense for me to questions and then just keep asking you because people had a ton of questions. And of course, we're a little earlier today because you're up early, right? You're starting work early, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I'm up at 6 o'clock every day. Out of the house by 6:30. I'm not home till 5 o'clock most days.
Oh, first comment. Here it comes. This was just. There you go.
Am I lagging pretty bad?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, nice.
First comment. Brian wants Nikki's autograph. That's the first comment for you.
He can pay for it, I'm sure.
There you go. There you go. I mean, I could just see Warren over there trying to figure it out and then charging people. It looks like your autograph. There you go.
He doesn't want my autograph? What the hell?
Start signing bottles.
There you go. What else we got? We got to have some Warren questions. So we got a few.
What do you do for Cat,
really,
Warren?
You probably should have had Nikki on. It sounds like everyone wants to talk to her more than me.
No.
Well, everybody's got different questions for different people, right? Content creation versus, I mean, you do more than I. You do the things, right? So I was not even in the woods this year. It's horrible. And you were in the woods and had a ton of advice for David on tubing. That's so valuable, right? That's the key. What's valuable to somebody that's watching.
That's how we make our money is in the woods versus you're modeling it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, I got to spend every moment I got in the woods when the sap's running.
I tell people I lose less every day. That's what I do. I lose less every day.
I try not to lose anything.
Yeah. I was going to say, that must be nice.
So David had a question. Go ahead, David.
What do you do for Cat?
Field service tech over the road. I have a Ford 550 service truck.
Yeah.
So I drive it all over New York, up to Niagara Falls, down to the PA line, Wellsville area, and all the way over to Waterloo. So that's my territory. It can be Niagara Falls one day, Waterloo the next. My neighbor down the street the next day. I have no idea where I'm going.
Let me guess. You probably are their lead electronics and hydraulics guy, aren't
you? I'm up there.
Yeah, there you go.
Been at Cat 12 years. I've been a kid 12 years, so I kind of know. I've seen everything. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean,
So do you
if
do
I
it overnight?
I can fix anything.
Yeah.
Do
I
you have
believe that.
overnights? Like, do you stay at a hotel? Like, are you moving that far that you
No.
have to stay?
No.
Okay, you're home every night.
Yep. Yeah, I try to be home by 5 every night. So I'll leave by 6:30. Leave the house 6:30, and I'm home by 5. Some
just
nights
as
I'm
a-
out till like 7 or 8, but it's kind of rare actually.
How,
The newer guys are out way later, but I'm not going to stay late anymore. I've had enough of that. I'm already thinking about quitting every day. I've been
Well,
thinking
there's so
about
much
that for
money
2
in
years.
Maple. Why can't you, right?
Yeah. I don't get a paycheck from Maple.
so how many taps did you guys run about this year?
This year was 36,500.
Wow.
And
So
we're
36,500. That's, I mean, in Western New York, you're in the tops, right? For size.
yeah, there's Gordy Putnam. He's the number one, I guess, in our area. He's around 50,000.
Gotcha.
And then it's probably us and then Murley Maple. They got like 18,000.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And then
Yeah,
there's
they're like right in Warren's backyard. We went down the road and turned left like he said to go, and I think we cut back up behind his place, and it's almost like they're right on the other side of the ridge for you guys,
other
aren't
side
they?
of the creek. Yep.
Yeah.
Is
That's
Murray, is he Wyoming County too?
Yeah.
So Wyoming County in Western New York, it's like I don't know. There's just
A Franklin.
There's a ton of maple in that county. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it's
Well, I live on Maxon Road, and there's at least 5 people on Maxon Road alone that make maple syrup.
wow.
And pretty much everyone stops in at our sugar house and they get the itch and they start making it. Hell, my boiler guy that does the chemical testing for the boiler, he stopped in, hooked up my chemical system, and next thing you know, he's tapping trees. He said he tapped he made I don't know, 5 gallons. And then he's
Nice.
already talking. He's got like 30 more taps he wants to add on next year.
It's a drug, man.
Yeah, it's addictive.
It is.
So this fella has a question for you. Do you have many visitors to the sugar house on Maple Weekend in Western New York?
Next year we'll be open for Maple Weekend, but this year and all the previous years we haven't been open just because the building's not finished yet. I've been working on this place like every day for 4 years now, and it's just taking forever. And costs a fortune.
All right, the questions are coming in now.
There you go.
Coming in hot and heavy. So, what are your cleaning sanitation practices with your tubing? Do you use check valve spouts? And how often?
Are they asking me or asking you guys?
Oh, they're asking you. They're not going to ask me. Listen, yeah, they're asking you. And listen, David and I, you've forgotten more than David and I know. So, yeah, cleaning and sanitation practices is the first question. Like, what are they? Cleaning and sanitation.
So we have a couple miles worth of underground lines. We'll run water and Clorox with them beginning of the season, flush them out, make sure they're clean. As for the main line and 5/16 tubing in the woods, we don't do anything with it. We just let it sit all year. We don't clean anything. Now drop lines, we kind of did a trial run, well, for 7 years now actually. But we had 32,000 drops with the quick connect fitting in them. So we'd bring home 2 feet of drop line with a spout, and we'd put that in like a washing machine, wash that with hot water and Clorox, and the drop lines would come out spotless. So we've been doing that for 7 years and reusing drops, but I don't know if it's really helping. Because I give you an example. We replaced 3,600 drops in One Woods with brand new drops. So it was a brand new tee, drop, and spout, and that Woods outperformed everything. So that goes to show brand new drops are superior.
Yeah.
So brand new drop is the best. And then I almost think just a brand new spout is second best. And then maybe washing your 2 foot of drop line like we've been doing the past couple of years is probably third best.
I see.
Wow.
Just because we've proved it. I mean, brand new spouts are just outperforming our wash drop lines. And then we're starting to see a lot of, the
Are
quick
you having
connections
any
going
issues
to a
with
lot
the
of
quick
leak.
disconnects leaking over time? Like,
Yeah.
reconnecting every year and stuff?
Yeah, that's what we're starting to run into, and that's where it's starting to pull us down. So maybe washing drops is a good thing to do, but by the time you factor in all the quick connects that are micro leaking, you're losing. So I don't know. We're starting to get away from it. Actually, this year we're just going to end up replacing a bunch of drops, probably 10,000 of them. But we've also you got to go by the season because one year we replaced 32,000 drops and it made no difference. We didn't make any more syrup than the year we did before.
Yeah.
So it's all weather dependent. You just kind of do what works for you.
So are you going to go to a 5-year rotation then with the new drops and just change spiles every year? Then in like 5 years, change drops?
Yeah.
Is that kind of the plan?
Yeah, that's what we're going to start doing.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, it's the most time efficient too. I mean,
Yeah,
taking all
labor.
the drops off, washing them, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, then the cost of that connector fitting, I was looking those up. They don't give them away either.
I don't know what they are, 55 cents
Yeah.
or more. Yeah, they're not cheap.
Nope.
Here's one for you, Warren. They're looking at how was your season in New York? How much did you produce?
Nate kind of knows how our season went.
Yeah, but I don't, it's up to
Made
you.
a ton of syrup. We actually beat our record. So last year was the most syrup we ever made. Now with 21,000 gallons. And I thought we'd never come close to beating that record again. Like that was unbelievable for us at least, because we made, I guess we made 6 pounds last year. And then this year we ended up making 6.5 pounds per tap on average. So
That's amazing.
I guess prove me wrong. I mean, we did great. Busted our butts though. I mean,
Same amount of taps as the year before?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And then this year we made 22,000 gallons.
Wow.
So we made 1,000 more gallons than last year. So broke our record again.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, some of the drops we installed like 3,000 a whole brand new section, 3,000 taps worth. And then we replaced 3,600 drops in a different woods, just the drop lines, nothing else.
Yeah.
But then some of our woods, like another woods was 2 years old. Another woods had new tubing replaced, like 5 years old. But then we have one woods that the tubing's some of the main lines 30 years old. And some of the 5/16 is pushing 16 years.
Wow.
So I mean we still have pretty good numbers. But the oldest woods is pulling the numbers down. Because some of our newer woods, one wood's made 8.6 pounds per tap.
Wow.
Well, it was actually like 2 woods. One woods was 7,000 taps, and that made 8.6 pounds. And then the woods right across the road from it also did 8.6 pounds per tap, and that's like a 5,000 tap woods.
What's your biggest amount of taps in one location?
Well, we have up by my house, there's a silo, 30,000 gallon silo that 11,000 taps runs into it. It's 2 woods that pump into one big silo. But then we got 9,600 taps that run directly into the sugar house, right into them silos out front.
Nice. That's
And
nice.
hopefully we seal the deal on another 11,000 tap woods this week.
Wow.
That's awesome. So these questions are coming in. I have to focus on the questions so I can pick a good one. But so sap content, like that's a good question I just saw. In order to make that, like what's sap? People imagine you're getting 3% sugar to make a yield like that, right?
Oh yeah, ours is 6 all day long. No, our average is like 1.7 to 1.8. Our
Wow.
average.
And those are sugars?
Yeah.
Those are sugar maple? That's about what my soft
Oh, yeah,
maples are
yeah.
getting here.
No, we're probably 90% hard maples and then 10% soft maples.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some
when
days
you
we'll be at
pull that much
2%.
volume,
Some days are 1.5.
I mean, the amount of gallons per tap that you're pulling, like, I used to think when I first started with tubing that 20 gallons per tap of sap was excellent, right? But
Right.
today, what is it today? I mean, you're probably pushing 30s or over 30s.
No, the one was that did 8.6 pounds was 45 gallons per tap. And that woods, some of them, a lot of them trees are 2 or 3 tap trees. I mean,
Wow.
these trees are huge. The amount
Wow.
of board feet in them and the crowns are massive. Like,
Yeah.
so them trees, they actually, some of them put out,
Wow.
close to 3 gallons, 2.5 gallons per tree.
Here's a
Wow.
good question. How did you get into making maple syrup?
My grandpa started it. Well, I mean, my grandpa did it as a hobby 50 plus years ago. And then it kind of ended. And then 20 years later, my dad kind of picked up on it again and been making it ever since. So my dad started getting into it in 1992. That's when I was born. And then every year we've been growing.
That's awesome. Now they're trying to look at some of your data here. These guys are doing research now. They're like trying to figure out the average number of taps per lateral on the woods that made 8 pounds per tap. Really specific.
We're going to end this conversation because I'm going to give away all my secrets.
Yeah, it's like, man, that's a really specific question. It's probably not 100. It's probably not a lot.
So what I see a lot in the maple industry is everyone tries to reinvent the wheel, which I don't understand why. They're just making it hard for themselves.
Yep.
Because I've seen people go to the extreme. I know the number they say, like on average 5 taps per lateral is a good number to shoot for, or per 5/16 line. And I've heard some people go 1 drop per 5/16 line. So 1 drop per saddle. And that's crazy. Like, why?
Yeah.
But I run most of the tubing. It's me and then 2 of our woods we hired the Amish to help us out. But we average 4 to 6 taps per line.
Oh, that's about where I'm at. That's right where I'm at on my new woods.
Yeah. Like if it's 6 taps, it doesn't bother me. If it's 4, it doesn't bother me. Like I shoot for 5.
Yeah.
But 1 or 2 extra, I'm not going to stress about it.
For the length of tubing to run, just how it runs, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I try to keep them straight as I can, and you try to slope them downhill, but you can't run everything perfectly all the time. Some of our 5/16 runs uphill. It's just the way it is. If I want to get the sap, it's got to run uphill.
That's how yep.
So the way I look at it is some sap's better than nothing. Like, maybe it's not 8 pounds out of them trees. Maybe you're only in 5 pounds, but you're still getting something.
Yep.
Where would you say most of your research, or how did you learn it? Like, I guess, I'll admit when I first started, it was Maple Trader. That's all we had. And about half it's all we had. But, now there's information. It's so readily available. And then people, like, has there been
I wouldn't find it online if, like, reading the Maple chats, that's not the best place to find it. The best place to find it is go to the big producers and see who's actually doing it.
Yeah.
Tour sugar houses. Every year we'll try to hit up about 3 new sugar houses every year just to get ideas.
Yeah. One trip to Franklin, Vermont, and man, you'll be leaps and bounds ahead.
Yeah.
Yep. So is there anyone that you would say was like an influence, or, any?
I gotta step away real quick, guys. I'll be right back.
Any producers you would say, like, you've learned a lot from, they had a lot to teach, or they, just helped you think differently.
It's from all producers. I mean, everyone gives you little ideas here and there.
Sure.
I mean, we went to Glenn Goodrich's, and then the next year we ended up with one of them.
Right.
Because he had one. Because we were looking for a new evaporator, and after seeing that, it was a no-brainer. We had to go with steam.
I mean, last season you were in the middle of swapping evaporators, weren't you? Like it was like
2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago. So this is
And that was when you showed up. I think it was 2 seasons ago.
You were in the middle of switching. So you have 2 full seasons on steam now.
Yeah.
Would you ever go back to the old style?
No way. No way.
Why does everybody say that? And they say it with a laugh. They're just like, no, like we can't even comprehend because it's all we know is just the.
Well, I've struggled with the conventional evaporator. Ran that for 25 years, and swapping pans every day to acid them. The flue pan, cleaning the flue pan's a nightmare.
Burning them up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, leave Nikki in charge, and that's what'll happen.
Now, did you sell your evaporator? I saw you had it for sale. Is it sold already, or?
No, we took it to an auction.
Oh,
and
okay.
usually at this auction, everything goes way overpriced. But this year was a complete bust. I couldn't believe it.
Really?
Bidenomics,
We
man.
brought it home. Yeah. Well, 2 years ago, things were going for brand new price, and shit was 5 years old, 5 or 10 years old.
Yep.
And so I figured it would have done all right, and we took it to the auction, and I don't even know if anyone bid on it, but we just brought it back home.
No kidding.
And it was a rainy day. Like, it was just bad.
Is it for sale?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it's a 4x?
Yeah, I
trying
reposted
to
it.
help you sell it here. I'm trying to help you sell it. What do you? It's a D&G, right?
I reposted it on Facebook on the Maple Syrup chat.
Yeah, it's got
It's a 5x16.
It's a big one, yeah. 5x16 D&G.
It's CDL evaporator, the bottom, like the oil burners, CDL, and then the flue pan, front pans, and the hoods are D&G. It's got a preheater in it. I mean, it works great. We ran it all the way until we switched to steam. I actually ran the old rig in this building 3/4 of the season, and then it froze up hard for 3 days, so I swapped them out.
So is that like a 300 gallon hour evaporation rate unit type thing, or what is that?
I don't know. It makes it about 100 gallons an hour. It could do. I know when because it used to be Gordy Putnam's, and when he owned it, he had the steam away on it, and it would do like 120 gallons an hour. But we took it off just because of cleaning purposes. It was a pain to clean. And I'd rather run the RO an extra 10 minutes and make up the same time.
So here's a question on what bricks do you run your RO?
We got a 16 post Memprotech, and if the sugar content is like 1.8 or greater, it'll put out 25 bricks, and that's what we boil at. But yeah, if it's weaker sap, 1.5 or 1%, it's whatever it is. It is down to 18. Like, I'll run the steam rig at 18% if I have to, just because we don't recircuit. I mean, just the way we're set up, it's not too easy to do.
Here's a good question. It says from Greg Johnson. I've watched some of your videos, Warren, sticking to all plastic fittings in the woods versus stainless.
Yeah, well, the one stainless fitting I put in the woods was the only fitting I had that leaked. Like, the very first one I put in was leaking. But no, it's mainly cost, and the plastic fittings I use, I don't have any problem with them leaking or even breaking if you do things right. I think I had one plastic fitting break this year, and that's out of 1,000 plastic fittings.
Yeah.
So the amount of main lines we have, say if it's 500 main lines, for plastic, it costs like $20 a main line. If it's all stainless, it's $100 a main line.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
So that's a huge number. I mean,
It is.
so am I going to spend 50 grand in stainless fittings for my main lines? I don't think so.
And this is great. There's a lot of people asking questions.
Well, like the plastic fittings, I mean, I try to find the Lasco, the black or the dark gray plastic Lasco
Yeah.
fittings. They have
Yep.
like 6 barbs on them.
Mhm.
And I find them work the best. I double hose clamp everything, and as long as you heat up your main line the right, the right temperature so it melts around the barbs properly,
Yeah.
you never have a problem.
I think David knows a little bit about slow roasting things, don't you, David?
A little bit.
Well, you said you sold out, yesterday?
Yeah, in 3.5 hours.
I got a barbecue yesterday too.
Did you?
Yeah. Not from you though, obviously.
Here's a good question. Do you use monitors?
I'm pricing them out, but at the moment we don't have any.
Wow.
So I don't know if I should get monitors. I'm going to make a gallon per tap. I mean, before you know it, like I was
all
telling
without
my dad-
monitors. 36,000 taps with no monitors. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, realistically though, the numbers we're doing, I mean, give it another 10 years and the norm isn't going to be a half gallon per tap. It's going to be 3/4 of a gallon
Yeah.
per tap in 10 years. The way everything's getting better and better.
Yeah, this is a good question.
I mean, if all of our woods were like if our one woods, the biggest woods by my house, if that 11,000 taps was up to date, I mean, we would have been 8.6 pounds per tap across the board. Our average would have been that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that one woods is pulling our average down.
This is from Ontario. It says we can wash with alcohol in Ontario. It's interesting, but their crazy rules do not let them use steam to boil. It's interesting.
How can they? That makes no sense.
No.
That makes no sense.
Well, yeah, I think that's the government doesn't let
It
them.
is.
Probably
Or it's
something to
so
do with the
regulated.
boiler system.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in New York, if you're agriculture, the steam evaporator is ag exempt. So no one inspects it or anything. It's kind of
Wow.
really. I mean, it's
Wow.
dangerous. It should be inspected.
That's what
So
I
when
was
hooked it up- yeah, I hooked it up and I had the New York State inspector come out and check it over. And when he showed up, he's like, "Wait a minute, you're ag exempt. I don't need to look at this." And I'm like, "No, you
Yeah.
need to,
Yeah,
because
you
I'm
need
running
to.
it and I don't need to kill myself."
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Giant bomb.
I bet you that's the next thing in the syrup industry is a standard for these boilers with other manufacturers getting involved and stuff. There's going to be somebody step in and something's going to change in that aspect. It's coming.
Well, someone's gonna get killed, and then
Yeah,
something might
exactly.
change. But I mean, the boiler we have is actually supposedly it's like the safest one because it's a water tube boiler. So there's only like 150 gallons of water inside it, versus the fire tube boiler is a horizontal boiler, and those hold like 1,200 gallons. So
I see.
the danger is a lot higher with a horizontal boiler.
Yeah.
Either one's dangerous, but I mean, ours is, I guess, less dangerous. But
I couldn't believe the amount of diesel that thing took to get running, though. That's still crazy. That's a lot of heat. That's a lot of BTUs, man.
What's it used per hour or per minute? Or is it gallons per hour? Is that how
Per
they feed
hour.
the boiler?
yeah, I mean, we got a 300 horse boiler, and I actually turned the fuel down a little bit because Clayton's had to run the steam pressure at like 60 or 50 psi. So I turned it down, so we're running at like 58 psi, and I got the air tuned in, so everything's clean. It burns clean. but I don't know what it burns. Maybe 60 gallons an hour. But the
Yeah.
boiler's rated to burn 90 gallons an hour. But it's definitely not burning that much an hour.
Sheesh.
But
And
But
how
yeah,
much-
during beginning of season to 3/4 of the way through, it was burning like 1/10 of a gallon of fuel per gallon of syrup. But then the late season syrup, it started burning a lot of fuel just to make it because it just draws off that much slower. The syrup steams off slower,
Yep.
So at that point, we were burning probably 0.4 gallons to make a gallon of syrup, but we're still making syrup. I'm not going to dump it just because we're burning more fuel.
Yep.
Another good question. Is the fuel efficiency better with steam than it was with the conventional pan?
Yeah, I think the average conventional pan is 2.5 or is a quart of fuel per gallon of syrup. And I know Glenn Goodrich mentioned his steam pan burns 0.14 gallons of fuel per gallon of syrup. So yeah, it's definitely more efficient.
Huh. It's just
I
not.
think it depends on what you're putting your bricks through and everything in your evaporator
Yeah.
setup. There's a lot of variables there.
Yeah, so
With it.
Glenn was also boiling at 32 bricks.
Yeah.
So
There's a
that's
lot of
gonna help
variables.
fuel efficiency. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can run high bricks in your conventional evaporator too. I don't know why people limit it to 10 or 15 bricks. We ran
Yeah.
ours at 20%. But I mean, the problem with conventional pans that I see is the syrup draw off. They always have a 2-inch draw off when it should be 3-inch, just the way they
Yeah.
boil it. It comes off slow on a conventional pan.
Well,
So the
mine
draw-
on my liter, my 3x12 is an inch.
Yeah, so you run into the problem of you could burn it real easy, I
Yeah.
don't think.
You got to watch it. I got the high-low switch. If it's usually the first draw is the only time I ever have an issue after it's sat and it's kind of mixed around, that you fire back up, you get that first initial.
Right.
So I've just started drawing off earlier now, but when I first did it to learn, I just would flip it to the low fire and that would help get through that. But yeah.
How deep do you run it? Like 1 inch?
No, I'm running 2 inches.
2?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
with
used to run ours
with
at
fuel
3
oil.
just to get
Yeah.
it out of it fast enough. Because at 20 bricks, it needed to be ran deeper.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm only running 8, so but that's just because I'm RO weak right now. So
One post per 2,000 taps.
I
That's
know.
what we got.
So here's another good question. I'm sure you're getting this a lot already, Warren. Is your greatest syrup the same as when running the conventional, the steam versus the conventional? I'm hearing this a lot, right? As you travel, anybody who doesn't have steam, this reminds me of when the large producers all became organic, and then they told everybody, "Oh, it's so hard. You can't tap yard trees, and then all the farmers went around and said, "It's hard."
It's just someone being stubborn is what that is.
Listen, guys, if it's not made over a wood fire on an event, it's not real syrup. It's just all there is to it.
Yeah, well, I've tasted a lot of syrup, and we make pretty good syrup. I can say that.
Would you say the grades changed?
Good.
How do you? Do you think it boils lighter?
So- You lose flavor because it's not as dark.
Yeah.
Like last year, we made 95% golden syrup, and then so we made 500 barrels of golden and 25 barrels of amber. That was our crop. And then this year, the weather changed it, but it was about 50-50.
Okay.
But it's like all our amber, it's say at 74% light transmittance. It's right at the edge of golden.
I see.
So if it was at 65, yeah, it's going to taste a lot stronger. And I think that's where people are losing their flavor. We make a really high-end amber.
So-called losing flavor. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, strength of the flavor.
Yeah.
But it tastes great. It's just weaker.
Yeah. No, I had some. It was really good.
I mean, a guy about an hour from us is thinking about converting to steam. And he asked how it tasted because he heard, it didn't taste as good. And I cracked open a jug I had bottled up, and he's like, that tastes as good as it gets. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, why would you question
Syrup, guys. As long as you have good sanitation practices and you get it on and off that evaporator good and bottled right at the right bricks. I mean, that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, if you got, dirty lines or late season, it's going to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all about sanitation.
You got any big projects coming up, or are you taking a little bit of a break? Oh, that 11,000 taps, maybe.
Are you asking me or David?
Oh, I'm asking you because I know Dave doesn't.
Thanks, Dave.
11,000 taps. No, my big project is 20,000 taps.
No kidding.
So I'm thinking midsummer, I'm going to quit cat and then do syrup full time.
You won't regret it, honestly.
No, I probably should have never worked at cat and just did syrup full time.
But you'll also go, how did I get all this done? That's the other thing you'll say is like, how did I get all
the thing is, so the past 12 years I've worked at cat. So cat paid my mortgage, paid all my bills.
Yep.
And all the money, syrup, all the profits from syrup went back into the business.
Yep.
So my dad hasn't received a paycheck from Maple, neither have I. That's why we built this building, and then that's why we can buy more woods all the time.
pour it back in.
Yep.
Yep.
We're trying to get to the point where we could stop doing that and enjoy the money.
That's cool. That's awesome, man. Good for you guys. That's no easy task. And that's no easy task.
Yeah, it's
imagine if you would have had to pay someone to do all the stuff you did around that shop there too.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't exist. No way.
There's no way.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you guys need to stop in there in person and see that.
Yeah.
What's that, David?
I said you have to stop in there if anybody's ever in the area, buy some syrup from him and check out his facility because it just, I'm telling you, you got to see it in person to appreciate it. You really do.
This is a really good question. Any perspective on buying versus leasing woods?
So we own all of our taps. We don't rent any of it. The way I see it is you can lease the woods for 15 years and that landowner gets all the money, or you could pretty much buy it and in the same amount of time you could own it.
Yeah.
So
I think that would vary like where you're at too, like what the cost per acre is. You know, like there's spots over here, like where I'm at, there's no way I could purchase that land, tap it, and it ever pay for itself in that aspect. You see what I'm saying? Like it probably has, that's something to take into account too.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, you'd have to lease the woods for 25 or 30 years before, you'd get your money back.
Yeah.
Like I need to tap the woods I buy for 30 years before it's equivalent to leasing.
Correct.
The CDL, what? I don't even know what that means. Some of this,
yeah,
can't really
buying's
tell.
not always an option either.
No, yeah.
I mean, we've tried leasing from our neighbors and stuff, but no one bites on it. They just rather not have tubing in it.
Leasing can become a powerful way to potentially buy too. Like if you, have a piece of land that you're leasing, oftentimes in the lease, you can write something up that you get first right of refusal if the land ever goes up for sale. So there's sometimes it's, the family's not ready to sell. You've been leasing it for years. And then when it goes up for sale, you do have first right of refusal because you've got so much invested. So sometimes leasing could be potentially a way to buy, or at least lead towards, buying the land. Yeah,
I do think the tubing can intimidate some people for sure. You know, they just don't really want to look at it, or they don't really know. It depends where you're at. If people are used to seeing it, like you go in Vermont and people are just literally used to seeing it ever. So it's like, okay, yeah, what's the big deal? But you go somewhere like over here where they're not used to seeing it, like, I don't know. Like to ride my quad through there once in a while, you know?
Yeah. Well, like we've talked to people that, they don't want tubing in there because they walk in, and realistically, they haven't walked in their own woods they haven't walked in 10 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
But another way of looking at it too is rent always goes up. First it was 50 cents a tap, then $1 a tap. Now around here it's $2 a tap minimum.
Wow.
So what's it going to be in another years? $4?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, by us there's a ton of competition. Everyone,
And that's gonna vary. That's one nice thing about Michigan, man. It's a pretty open market.
I'm starting to like see and hear some sap buyer, sap seller. Like, isn't it interesting that, you know, with J.R. Sloan and how competitive the sap buying is when there's a million taps within a 10-mile radius?
Yeah.
It drives the sap value up. And I think that mindset is going to end up moving to areas where there's large pockets. In this country, there are some pockets. You know, Wyoming County's got a ton of trees. Somebody's going to basically say, hey, I'm going to build a large production facility and I'll give you 60% or however he does it. I mean, it would actually bring more. It's interesting. Like right now it's like 50-50. It always was 50-50 in Ohio. It was like, you know, it was a half split, but you start thinking about the cost of that equipment. You know, I see it happening in Wisconsin. I mean, there's no doubt at some point somebody in Wisconsin in the big pockets is just going to put in a massive production facility and just start boiling for people.
Yep. If I lived in Franklin, Vermont and tapped my woods, I'd be leaps and bounds ahead, just literally being a sap farmer and selling the sap. I'm telling you, it'd be a no-brainer. But can't do the same thing here. That's for sure.
Man, this is awesome, Warren. Thanks for jumping
David,
on.
what are you averaging pounds per tap?
Pounds per tap. We won't. This year we're not even going to talk about it. We went straight to 70 degrees. I should have tapped.
It's just like Nate.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I was in
bad.
there.
This was really bad.
That's how
See,
I.
That's your problem.
Let's talk about ounces per tap for this season. Let's do that.
The Southern Maple Belt. When you guys had that worm spell,
we got hit.
Our season ended. I know, David, you kept going a little bit, but my season ended.
Yeah.
So we kept going after that, but all the syrup after that was off flavor.
Mine was too, and that's why I just stopped.
The problem was, I mean, our sap, we were still getting 40,000 gallons of sap a day still.
Yep.
Like the trees just never stopped running. It was kind of a freak of nature. Like they should have been done.
Yeah.
Because
I had the same thing, but the syrup tasted like chocolate. I'm like, I'm not gonna. What am I gonna do with this? So I just stopped.
Yeah.
Wow.
It looked beautiful. I'll grab the bottle. It's sitting right here.
You gotta like how I just right in my kitchen.
That's the last run right there, and it tastes like chocolate.
Nate will buy it from you.
Here you go. Kevin says you're tapping cocoa trees. That's why.
Kevin, here we go.
Yep. Well, this is awesome, guys. Thank you, Ward, for jumping on. This has been awesome. A lot of feedback. A lot of people jumped on tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for doing this. This is cool.
Yeah, no problem.
So, all right, guys. We'll catch up.
Appreciate it. Later.
Okay. See you.
See ya.